Okay, now I love having this channel because one of my favorite things to do is blow your minds, all right? You're getting information here that you're not getting anywhere else. And if you're a landlord, I hope that you're paying attention to this because nobody knows this, all right? Security deposits. If you've ever been a landlord, I almost bet 99% of you have not done this, okay? If you're a landlord and you've taken a security deposit, tell me right now. I wanna know in the comments below. If you haven't ever been a landlord and you've been a tenant, I also wanna know, I want you to comment right now and tell me if you've ever given a security deposit for a place you've lived in. And I wanna know how much of a security deposit you gave, okay? Because I'm gonna blow your mind with some information right now. Security deposits are not what you think they are, okay? Whether you're a tenant or a landlord, there are a ton of obligations that must be followed literally to a T when it comes to correctly handling security deposits, all right? Now, the laws differ per state, but the overarching kind of idea of the security deposit is the same regardless of what state you're in. Please, for the love of God, if you are a landlord, look up the laws in your state, okay? Now, a couple questions that I get often. Do Section 8 tenants have to provide security deposits? The answer is, if it's your unit, you get to decide, but why would you not want a security deposit? Of course you can ask for a security deposit. You should. Security deposits are going to be lower with Section 8 tenants because you have to imagine, right? So say you have a unit that's renting for $1,000 a month, okay? And the tenant's only paying 20% of that. So the tenant's only required to pay $200 a month. Yet the legal allowable security deposit can be, $1,000. Usually security deposits can be up to 1 month rent, okay? Equal to or less than 1 month's rent. So technically you could say the security deposit is $1,000 a month. Well, this tenant's only paying $200 a month. So you're gonna charge them 5 times their normal rent for security deposit? No, it's craziness. With Section 8, you're charging usually lower security deposit amounts because the tenant's not paying that full rental amount, okay? So that probably makes more sense, right? Made more sense to me when I learned that. Now, security deposits can be a broad variety of denomination depending on what state you're operating in. For example, Tennessee, where I am right now, I'm in Nashville, it's kind of a weird state in that security deposits can be whatever you want. You can rent a place for $1,000 and charge a $10,000 security deposit. No one's ever gonna move into your place, so why would you do that? But you can. That's a little bit out of the norm. Usually it's equal to or less than 1 month's rent. That is kind of the staple across the board, but every state's different, so you need to look it up, okay? So, what can a security deposit be used for? This is the biggest misconception in all of real estate, okay, when it comes to having tenants and having rental properties. Security deposits can only be used for unpaid rent, okay, damage. I'm gonna circle this because a lot of you guys don't understand what damage is, and I didn't either when I was first starting. Damage sounds easy, it's not. And breaches of contract, okay? So breaches of the lease, all right? So if a tenant was doing something that you specifically say in the lease and you're fining them for it, or they have broken the contract in some way, you can use the security deposit to back that up. Now, they could have been fined. There could be a fine on the property for, say, weed control, okay? I remember when I first saw one of my first leases and one of the first properties I saw, I was reading, or one I owned, I'm reading the lease and it says weed control. And I was like, someone's controlling the amount of weed that they're smoking in the property? I literally thought that. But no, it's obviously lawn care, weeds, okay? Weed control. So we know that there's not weed control in a lot of places, okay? For those of you that are watching from California or Colorado or Massachusetts or New York, there's no weed control, which is fine, whatever. But if, for example, they're not cutting the weeds, guess who's getting fined? The owner of the property, okay? You're getting fined by the city. And the tenant's like, I'm not paying that, I'm not paying that. Okay, well, take it out of the security deposit. You can do that, all right? Damage. I know I keep getting back to damage. Okay. What is damage? Damage is not encompassing to things that you're going to have to pay for. What do I mean by that? Say a tenant lives in a property for 5 years and they move out. The rugs are just hacked up. They're gross. They're dirty. Parts of the hardwood floor worn down. There are some handles on cabinets that are falling off. There are some door locks that are busted. There's just some stuff that's just broken. Can I charge? Oh, but wait, I have a security deposit, right? No, you can't take that out of security deposit because those things count as normal wear and tear, okay? Wherever normal wear and tear exists, you cannot pull money from the security deposit. It's illegal. You can only pull from the security deposit if there has been damage, right? I punch a hole through the wall, you can pull out of the security deposit to pay for that. I rip a ceiling fan off because you know how much I hate ceiling fans. I rip them out of the wall. Then you can deduct, yes, you can take money in the security deposit for that. I am playing football in the house and I throw a football through a glass window. That's not normal wear and tear. You can take out of the security deposit for that. Small things, you cannot take money out of the security deposit, okay? Keep that in mind. It is illegal to do that, all right? Now, this is where a ton of landlords are probably screwing up, okay? When you take a security deposit, you have to keep track of where it's going, and at all times, it cannot be touched. You need separate accounts for all those security deposits, okay? You need a common account to hold those security deposits. You can't just take that security deposit and just, go to the store and buy yourself a new TV with the security deposit, and then when that tenant moves out, yeah, place looks good, cut a check for their $1,000 security deposit. Can't do it. That security deposit needs to be put into a separate bank account, okay? Once that security deposit gets put into another account, you have to provide written documentation to the tenant that says your security deposit has been placed in this account with this bank. Now, you don't have to disclose the account number, but you need to tell them where that account's located, okay, and that it is in a separate account from rent, all right? At all times, it must be separated, okay? Now, this is extremely important, okay, because at all times, that security deposit needs to be accounted for, okay? There are state laws that regulate this. Now, it's important to check wherever you are what your state's laws are. There are some states that actually, they have to be put in an interest-bearing account. Where I am right now in Nashville, that's not the case. They just have to be put in a separate bank account. It doesn't have to be interest-bearing. Some states, you have to put all security deposits in interest-bearing accounts. So, you have to do research, you have to know what your state legally has you do, requires you to do as a landlord, okay? Lastly, sale of the property. When you sell your property as a landlord, or you are an investor and you purchase a property that has a tenant inside, you need to, if you're the landlord, transfer that security deposit to the new owner, okay? If you are the new investor purchasing property, you are then a recipient of that security deposit, okay? Very, very important that you guys know that, because I have been a part of purchases before where that seller is like, oh, maybe he won't know that he has to take the security deposit, and they've tried to not give it to me. A, because they probably did it wrong. They didn't have a separate account, so there's no tracking of the security deposit. But they also probably thought, well, he doesn't know that, that we need a security deposit. 100%. And guys, that's one of the important parts of having a property management company that knows all this stuff. When you have a property under contract and you get that lease, like we've talked about in other videos, buying occupied property, the things that you need up front, and you take that lease and you hand it to the management company to get ready to onboard it, right, to get it ready, that management company will already reach out and say, hey, we need this from you, 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 you being that seller. And they're gonna make sure they have everything they need. They're gonna make sure they take that security deposit, put it in another account, because property management companies understand all these laws, because in order to operate, they need to be following these laws, okay? And it just takes it out of it for you. You don't have to worry about any of this if you have a management company. But for those of you that are managing your own properties, for those investors who are getting into real estate, rental real estate for the first time, don't screw this up. See you next time.